Did you know that on the Bernina 570, you can actually adjust the stitch density and the stitch type in the embroidery world? Now, why would I even want to do this? First, I'm going to pull up a design, actually a letter that will give you the best understanding of how this works. So let's touch B for Bernina for fun. And then as we pull it in, first off, we do see that it is not a big B, it fits in a small hoop. That is an optional hoop, but today I actually have the oval hoop on the machine. So you can see that it's not very big, but if I want to make this design bigger, I can touch the I for information, come into our resizing area. Now as a reminder, as we enlarge this all the way up, it is actually adding stitches to this letter. So, if we started and it had 1,000 stitches, by the time we're done, we could have like 5,000 stitches. But yes, you can take a design and make it as large as the hoop. So actually, why not? Let's make it even a little bit bigger. But let's think for a second about this stitching now that we've enlarged it so much. When we come back to our I for information, we have the option down here where stitch type is. So it's the last one, so you have to kind of scroll up to get to it. But we have taken a design that has a satin stitch. Now, usually when you do a letter, you might be used to seeing a satin stitch that's just a little bit wide, nothing big. But you take it up to this size. We're talking about those satin stitches have gotten bigger and bigger, especially in those thicker areas. That would be really a long jump of thread, and you could easily catch it on jewelry, catch it, and it will pull and snag. So here's a couple things. Number one, when you go into stitch type, we have the option to, number one, change the density. Now density would make it so that the fabric wouldn't come up between those long satin stitches, and that you could have more satin stitches put next to each other. So you usually don't need to change that when you're actually working with standard purchased embroidery designs. The density is preset, but you could go ahead and increase it, and that would increase the stitch count of your design as well. So we could go ahead and increase the density as we go. Let's see here, I can probably turn it by the knob a lot faster. Let's just see as we come back out, it recalculates those stitches, and you can see that the B is much darker on screen now. So let's go in there. I'm actually going to touch where we can reduce the density back to where it was. Now, let's talk about the other issue, those long satin stitches. The other thing you can change is actually you can change the satin stitch to a fill stitch. And what that means is that the stitches will then stitch back and forth instead of one long stitch back from edge to edge. That way, then your stitches are very well stitched. You won't catch your finger on them or snag those stitches. This would really be nice if you were working on something with some loft to or nap to the fabric, like terry cloth or fleece. This would also fill it in, and you would have a beautiful monogram. Yes, you could have it as big as the hoop that you are using. So try it out. Try both the adjustment of density, and then try changing a satin stitch to a fill stitch to see the results.